There's one thing that all of us watch enthusiasts have in common, irregardless of our personal preferences in watches. Whether you collect sports watches, dress watches, Invictas, vintage watches, or even digital watches. Whether you are opposed to quartz watches or love them, you have these in your collection. They are everywhere. They are the most ubiquitous thing in your collection, and you likely never really give them a thought. What is this amazing piece of horological brilliance? The spring bar. Spring bars are simply hollow metal tubes that contain a spring and retracting ends that allow us all to easily swap out our straps and bracelets on our watches. Prior to the invention of spring bars, straps, usually leather, were permanently affixed to the watch. When straps wore out, they would have to be cut off of the lugs, and a new strap slipped through the fixed bars and sewn or riveted into place. Watches were born as bracelets that women wore, called wristlets. Since these were essentially pieces of jewelry that told time, there was no need to consider altering anything about them. It wasn't until pocket watches were stuffed into leather pouches with straps on them, then later wristwatches as we know them today, that the idea of changing straps even came into play. Hodinkee wrote an article on this subject in 2016, and in the course of his work uncovered such gems as the back of the hand watch. Early watches had fixed bars soldered to their cases and utilized leather straps slipped through them and sewn in place. However, as early as 1924, patents were being filed for a solution to the problem of swapping worn-out straps. After World War I, wristwatches began to gain in popularity, so the shortcoming of existing methods of attaching straps to them became more pronounced. Who invented the spring bar? In hunting through patents, searching for who invented the spring bar, the author found that by the 1940s, spring bar technology was commonplace enough to warrant verbiage like, "As is well understood, these spring bars extend between the lugs on the wristwatch case and are provided with spring-pressed studs or trunnions at their ends for entry into the aperture or holes in the watch case lugs." Here is an image of Konikoff's spring bar patent from 1946. There's no mention of him and nothing about it online. However, according to HAL, or ChatGPT, the spring bar was invented by Georges Frederick Rosskopf, who allegedly filed a patent for a watch with removable lugs in 1879. But the internet has nothing to say on the matter, so HAL might be lying to us. Getting back to the Hodinkee article, the author worked his way back through patents, and the earliest he found was a patent for a convertible wristwatch in 1915 that had what is clearly spring bars. However, these likely existed before his patent. However, definitively speaking, this may be the earliest proven mention of spring bars. Let's discuss the anatomy of spring bars as well as the types of spring bars that are available. The shoulder. The shoulder is the thinnest part of a spring bar. This is the piece that fits into the hole drilled into the watch's lug. Flanges. Most spring bars have what are called flanges. These are used in conjunction with a spring bar tool to remove a strap from the watch. The spring bar tool is wedged between the flange and the lug and used to pry the retractable end of the spring bar inward, allowing it to be removed from the lug. However, there are spring bars that don't have these. I've owned a Marathon watch in the past, and its spring bars were this style. These spring bars are used with watches that have drilled lugs, so there's no need to utilize the flange in disengaging the spring bar from the watch's lugs. Some spring bars are thicker than others, measured by their thickest point. And I've even seen straps that utilize plastic inserts to allow straps to use thinner or thicker spring bars. There are curved spring bars which allow straps to fit more snugly to the watch case, eliminating any gaps that may occur between the strap and the case. Some straps utilize what are known as quick-release spring bars. These are great because they do not require any tools to remove them from the watch. I actually just ordered an assortment of these quick-release spring bars. I think I'm actually going to attempt to begin converting my straps to utilize both standard spring bars and quick-release ones. In conclusion, spring bars are the unsung heroes of the watch world. They help to keep our beloved watches from flying off our wrist and into the nearest destructive object to us. They allow us to obsessively swap out our straps to suit our mood, or reinvigorate watches that we've owned for years. As the Hodinkee author described their job, they seem far too flimsy to have any of us trust a $200 Seiko diver to them, let alone say a $50,000 vintage Rolex, or whatever. And yet, they seem to be almost boringly reliable. Mostly, anyway, and this despite the fact that they can't be cleaned or serviced, and are basically disposable.